my name is Olivier Wright. I'm the writer-director of a short film called No Contest in English. It's a French film. In French, it's called La Première Marche. And
I'm
thank you.
I'm Arthur Barrow, and I'm his DP. So I was director of photography on the No Contest short film.
And the film is about a judo competition in France, and our main character basically gets outed as being trans during the competition, and so it's a movie about a trans athlete facing basically opposition in the competition. It's inspired by several true stories. So I wrote this before the Olympics in France, and there were a few cases, especially in the US, because this was something that was happening more regularly there than in France at the time. But there have been a few cases where a trans athlete made headlines, usually for reasons of, someone else was unhappy with losing a race, for instance, in some sport or other. And there were a few cases during the Olympics as well, notably a boxer. And yeah, I just found the subject to be both important and also just dramatically very interesting. And so we made this film. The film is not just a typical movie about trans rights. It's first and foremost a sports drama that has that issue at the heart.
Yeah. Let's go into the cinematography. And we've got the DP here. Amazing. Okay, so what discussions did you both have in terms of the camera movements, the lighting?
We wanted to be able to have like a really documentary style way of filming, So the different locations are like a locker, a gymnasium. So we wanted basically to just be free with the camera and just like follow that girl, which is doing judo. And so all was about being free for Oliver to be able to like just change a last minute where we want to be, instead of like having a really detailed storyboard or stuff, But in the end, we had to do something like pretty precise because of a lack of budget. So it was. But I think we achieved a good documentary style, even if it's quite cut. That's it.
Nice. Why did you want a documentary style?
Maybe to feel like to feel alive, really like sticking to her. Like in her thoughts, in her way of living. It's it's not all the short film is like 20 minutes long, and it's almost like minute to minute to the real story time. So we wanted to like just stick to her, to live with her each moment of these 20 minutes.
I think also the point was to try and make it look as sort of real as possible, as though really we were just a camera crew during a competition, to give it that sort of very naturalistic vibe where we just showed up and we're sort of, the action is unfolding and we're trying to keep up with it, basically. So that's kind of what he means by a documentary style.
Yeah.
Although ultimately it's sort of in between because, we had to set up some frames and stuff, but I think that it comes out quite interesting in that way.
We did a bit, maybe like too much, because it was like a matter of choice. Either we light everything, and it's a gymnasium, so it's huge. Either we light like nothing, but we just stood in the middle. So we had like the light just to light like half of it. So basically we were like moving loads of stuff all around to keep this feeling of everything lit, you know what I mean? So we wanted to achieve a natural look, but still keep this like just on point lighting, quite not so natural, but more cinematic,
Did you discuss? Was this your vision, or did you sort of work it out together?
I think it's something that came up just out of conversation, really, and also based on what equipment we could get, also.
Yeah.
Because, when you have producers who at some point when you start talking about equipment lists and then they say, well, you can have this, but you can't have that, or this is something we can get, that also forces you to adapt a little bit what you're going to start doing. And so I think that if for instance, at the very beginning they'd said, you can have no lights, well, then we would have adjusted also to that, and maybe the film would look very different, and maybe it would be just as good or better or worse, I don't know, but it would have been a different style. And we worked also with what we had.
Yeah.
And therefore, that's why the film, it's a funny combination of a very sort of naturalistic documentary approach in terms of the camera movements, I'd say, but then the lighting itself is a little above what you would get if it was just perfectly natural, whatever was there. So we have a bit of combination of both.
Shaking.
Yes, shaking a lot.
Shaking and, you know, like sneaking through extras.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like really.
Did they know?
Yeah.
We put them purposefully in front of, like, in the sort of foreground. So it gives that impression that we're always sort of a fly on the wall kind of thing. So we're filming between people a lot, and our subjects are sort of further behind. And I guess the main, how can I put it, visual risk we took was that the film is like 19 minutes long, and for 18 minutes it's in this sort of semi-documentary style. But then the final minute and a half, it flips completely, and you know, we have sort of a music track, and it's slow motion, and the shots are very smooth, and that breaks away from what we had before and takes us into a whole different direction.
What did you do for the music?
I found a great musician online whose name is Lorelei Kay, and she had a song that's just amazing and just fit the end of the song. And the sound design was, because the movie is meant to be naturalistic and there's no music throughout the film other than that final scene.
Yeah.
Well, the sound design was just basically a lot of on location, you know, sound recording, and then the sound designer had to just build up layers of crowd and things like that, because it's all in one location, so it's just basically the sounds you would hear during a sporting competition indoors.
And what's the ultimate message?
I guess the ultimate message is it's really quite simple, although it's a very complex subject to handle. The message is just basically open your eyes and ears and be willing to change your preconceptions, I guess. It's just be a bit more empathetic, and whatever angle you come at this subject, whether you're pro-trans or anti or skeptical or whatever it is, there is always room for you to see things a bit differently and maybe challenge your perception. Well, we had a casting director whose name is François Rivière, and the main challenge was finding the lead actress, because the lead actress, obviously she's playing a trans woman, and we wanted the actress to be herself trans. And it's not necessarily super easy to find trans actors in France. There were a few sort of organizations that had several actors on their, let's say, lists. They sort of have a repertoire of actors and actresses. And our casting director met Jan. She came for an audition, and she was just amazing. And I think that the film is what it is just also thanks to her, because she carries it from start to finish. She's absolutely amazing in the film. It's her first film as a lead. She only did one show before that. She was a really young actress, and she's just amazing. She's, you know, I'm very thankful and happy that she's winning a few awards, and she's just, you know, hopefully she'll get more parts after this as well.
What do you look for in actors when they're auditioning, and also?
During the audition, really, it's just a matter of, I tend to like looking at what they look like on screen, not so much to see whether or not they look good on screen. It's not that, but it's more, you can very quickly tell if someone is going to come off believable or not when you see the tape. Because I feel like sometimes when you talk to someone in the audition room, you can get fooled by whether or not they're likable people. You know what I mean? Like, if you relate with someone and you're like, I like that person's vibe, or they're very friendly, that can sometimes blind you to whether or not they're actually really good at acting the part. So I like to, I mean, it's counterintuitive, but I like to almost see footage first, because then it gives me a feeling of whether or not I like how they come up on screen. And then, of course, afterwards, it's very important to get along with them, because you don't want to work with someone you don't like.
Definitely not.